That constant feeling of pushing a boulder uphill. You send the follow-up email, you double text, you over-prepare, you try to force the connection, force the deal, force the outcome. You are doing everything, but nothing is falling into place. What if the biggest mistake is the pushing itself? Most people think success comes from more effort, more hustle. This is a trap that leads to burnout and anxiety. 99% will miss the final part, where we decode the internal shift that makes this entire strategy feel authentic and powerful. Skipping it means you'll just be holding your breath, anxiously waiting instead of truly letting go and attracting the results you deserve. The backwards law, okay, let's just name the exhausted elephant in the room. We live in a world that glorifies the hustle. We are told from every direction that the only way to get what we want is to want it harder, to push more, to never let up. If something isn't working, the only answer is to apply more force. More emails, more calls, more thinking about it. We operate under this deep-seated belief that our level of effort is directly proportional to our level of success. But what if that's only half the story? What if, for some of the most important things in life, like connection, creativity, and influence, this logic is not just flawed, it's completely backward? There's a philosophical concept, beautifully articulated by thinkers like Alan Watts, often called the backwards law. The more you try to grab a hold of something, the more it slips through your fingers. The more you desperately try to be happy, the more your focus on your unhappiness makes you miserable. The more you try to force someone to like you, the more they feel your needy, anxious energy and pull away. This isn't just philosophy. There's real brain science to back this up. When you are in a state of high effort, high attachment forcing, your brain is flooded with stress hormones like cortisol. You are in a low-grade fight or flight mode. Your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for nuanced social intelligence, problem solving, and creativity, starts to go offline. You literally can't think as clearly or connect as authentically when you are in this state of desperate pushing. Your energy becomes tight, constricted, and frankly, a little bit weird. People can feel it. They might not be able to name it, but they feel your attachment to the outcome, and it subconsciously registers as pressure. It feels like you need something from them rather than wanting to create something with them. This energy is the opposite of charismatic. It's the opposite of magnetic. It is the energy of struggle, and it repels the very opportunities you are trying so hard to attract. The strategy we are going to build today is the antidote to this. It's a science-backed framework for applying effort in a completely new way. It's not about becoming passive or lazy. It is about becoming incredibly strategic. It's about understanding the difference between the work phase and the release phase. Most of us are stuck in a perpetual work phase, and we have completely forgotten the magic and the power that happens in the release. This is about learning how to do the work with 100% presence and excellence, and then having the courage, the confidence, and the strategy to step back and do nothing, creating the space for everything to fall into place. This shift will not only transform your outcomes in your career and relationships, but it will also rescue you from the exhausting cycle of burnout and anxiety. You will learn that true power isn't in the force of your grip, but in the confidence of your release, the intentional seed. So if this isn't about just sitting back and waiting for the universe to deliver, what is it? The first phase of this process is what I call the intentional seed. This is the "this" in the title, "Do nothing after this." It is the action you take before you do nothing. And this action has to be done with incredible quality and clarity. The whole strategy falls apart if this first step is sloppy, needy, or unfocused. The intentional seed is the one perfect email, the one amazing first date, the one killer presentation, the one clear and vulnerable conversation. It is your best effort, distilled into a single powerful moment of action. The key here is to decouple the quality of your action from your attachment to the outcome. You are aiming to do your part so well that when you are done, there is a deep, quiet sense of satisfaction, a feeling of, "My work here is done. I have shown up as my best self." Let's get tactical. What does a good intentional seed look like? In a professional context, let's say you're sending a pitch or a job application. The hustle mindset sends a generic email and then follows up 5 times, each time a little more desperate. The intentional seed mindset spends 3 times as long on that one initial email. You research the person, you customize the message, you make sure your value proposition is crystal clear, you proofread it 3 times. You pour all of your energy into making that one touch point a wow. You send it from a place of service and value, thinking, I genuinely believe this could help them. Not from a place of need, thinking, I really hope they give me something. You are planting a healthy, powerful seed. Once you hit send, your work is done. You don't follow up in 2 days. You don't check their LinkedIn to see if they read it. You have made your move with excellence. In a social or romantic context, this is even more crucial. Think about a first date. The needy, forcing mindset is trying so hard to be liked. They're agreeable, they laugh a little too loud, they're already thinking about the second date before the first one is over. The intentional seed mindset focuses on one thing and one thing only: having a genuinely great time and creating a real connection in that moment. They are curious, they listen, they share authentically. They are not trying to win the other person. They are simply showing up as their most engaging, present self. At the end of the date, they might say, I had a really wonderful time tonight. That's it. That's the seed. The work is done. They don't go home and immediately text, so, when am I seeing you again? They don't sit by their phone waiting for a text. They planted the seed of a great experience, and they trust that if the soil is fertile, something will grow. The power in this phase comes from a deep internal shift. You are acting not to get a response, but to express your value. And when you act from a place of pure, confident expression, you can walk away with your head held high, completely at peace, regardless of what happens next. Creating space, you have planted your intentional seed. You've sent the perfect email. You've had the amazing date. You've given the incredible presentation. Your work is done. Now comes the hardest, most terrifying, and most powerful part of this entire process: doing nothing. This is what I call creating space, or the strategic withdrawal. This is where you actively resist every single instinct in your body that is screaming at you to push, to check, to follow up, to just make sure. Why is this so powerful? Because on a deep psychological level, human beings are drawn to a little bit of mystery. We are intrigued by things we don't fully have figured out. When you are constantly available, constantly pushing, constantly initiating, you remove all mystery. You answer all the questions before they're even asked. You are a closed loop. But when you make your move with excellence and then withdraw, you create an open loop in the other person's mind. It's a psychological phenomenon known as the Zeigarnik effect. Our brains have a much stronger memory for uncompleted tasks or unresolved tensions. By not immediately following up, you create a gentle, unresolved tension. They are forced to think, that was a great conversation. I wonder what she's thinking. Or, that was a really impressive proposal. I wonder what their next move is. You have created a vacuum, and nature abhors a vacuum. Your silence, after a moment of high-quality connection or value, invites them to step into that space. It gives them the opportunity to show you their level of interest and initiative. This is a critical test. If they are genuinely interested, they will fill that space. They will text you. They will email you back. They will move the ball forward. Their action is a clear signal of their enthusiasm. If they do not fill that space, that is also a signal. It is a piece of data that is just as valuable. It tells you that their interest level, for whatever reason, does not match yours. And isn't it better to have that data clearly and quickly rather than chasing them for weeks, trying to convince them? Your silence is a sorting mechanism. It cleanly and efficiently sorts the people who are genuinely excited about you from the people who are lukewarm, ambivalent, or simply not interested. It saves you an immense amount of time, energy, and heartache. This is not a game of making them wait. It is a strategy of self-respect. Your silence is not an empty, passive waiting. It is an active, confident stance that communicates a powerful nonverbal message. It says, I believe in the value of what I offered. I trust that you are capable of recognizing that value and acting on it if you choose. My time and energy are valuable, and I am going to invest them back into my own life while I wait for a clear signal from you. During this do-nothing phase, you are not just sitting by the phone. You are actively turning your attention away from that one seed you planted and turning it towards the rest of the garden of your life. You are pouring energy into your other projects. You are connecting with your friends. You are going to the gym. You are reading a book. You are living a full, engaging life. This creates a genuine, non-needy energy that is incredibly attractive. You are not waiting for one specific outcome to make you happy because you are actively creating your own happiness in the meantime. This is the difference between anxiously waiting and powerfully allowing. The observer. Self-so. How do you survive the do-nothing phase without going crazy? The anxiety of the unknown can be overwhelming. This is where you need to cultivate a new mindset, a new role for yourself in this drama. You need to shift from being the anxious actor on the stage to being the calm, curious scientist in the audience. I call this activating your observer self. Your job during this phase is not to worry, to strategize, or to overthink. Your only job is to watch and collect data. The other person's response, or lack thereof, is not a judgment on your worth. It is not personal, it is simply data. And your job is to observe that data with a cool, detached curiosity, just like a scientist observing an experiment. Let's say you had a great first date, your intentional seed, and you haven't heard from them. The anxious actor in you is spinning a story. They didn't like me. I said something stupid. It indicates low interest or ambivalence. The observer self sees this not as a reason to panic, but as a clear result. The experiment shows that the initial conditions are not being met with an equal level of energy. Therefore, it is logical to conclude that this is not a viable investment of further resources. This mindset allows you to gracefully and logically detach from lukewarm opportunities without the emotional drama, saving your best energy for the people and projects that show up with a clear and enthusiastic yes. The abundance anchor. This is the final piece. This is the internal mindset that makes this entire strategy not only possible, but feel natural and authentic. Without this piece, doing nothing will just feel like a painful, anxiety-ridden waiting game, a trick you are playing. With this piece, doing nothing becomes a powerful, peaceful, and productive state of being. This is what I call the abundance anchor. It is the deep, core belief that you are whole and your life is full, with or without this specific outcome. It is the understanding that you are not trying to get something to fill a void within you, because there is no void. You are operating from a place of fullness, of abundance, and you are simply looking for people and opportunities that resonate with that same energy. You build this anchor during the do-nothing phase. The energy and time that you would have spent worrying, checking, and following up is now freed up. You must reinvest that energy back into yourself and your own life. This is non-negotiable. What does this look like? It means you have other seeds planted in other parts of your garden. You have exciting projects at work. You have deep, fulfilling friendships that you are actively nurturing. You have hobbies that put you into a state of flow where you completely lose track of time. You have a physical health routine that makes you feel strong and vibrant in your own body. You are not waiting for one person or one opportunity to be the source of your joy and validation, because you are actively creating multiple sources of joy and validation for yourself every single day. This abundance anchor is what gives your silence its weight and its power. You are not faking being busy and unconcerned. You are busy and unconcerned because your life is genuinely compelling and interesting to you. Your sense of self-worth is not on the line, waiting for an email back. Your self-worth is being actively generated by you through your actions, your passions, and your other relationships. This creates a calm, confident, and incredibly attractive energy. People can feel it. They can sense that you are not desperate, that you are not needy. They can sense that you are a whole person and that being a part of your life is an invitation, not a requirement for your happiness. This is the ultimate reframe. The do-nothing strategy is not really about them at all. It is a powerful excuse to redirect your focus back where it belongs, on building a life that you are so deeply in love with that any external validation is just a wonderful bonus, not the main event. The great secret of doing nothing is that it's the most productive thing you can do. It's an act of profound self-trust. You trust that the seed you planted was good enough. You trust that you are wise enough to interpret the data you receive. And most importantly, you trust that you are whole enough to be profoundly okay no matter what grows. This isn't passivity. This is power. It is the quiet, confident, and deeply peaceful energy of knowing your own value so completely that you no longer feel the need to chase, to force, or to prove. You simply offer it, and then you allow things to fall beautifully and gracefully into place. Be honest. Which part of the hustle and forcing it cycle feels most draining to you? Let's share in the comments.